Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It just gives you a real lift when you catch a fish. You can see here, this is another good example of these pools that sort of develop at the end of groins. We've also got the advantage here of a lot of runoff of water that scours things out. It comes off the land. It's quite a built up area here. We're actually on a seafront at Hastings, and because of all the water that runs off, it can be of interest to the fish. Some people say after lots of heavy rainfall, particularly flounders and eels can be caught. We'll find out. Let's cast this one out. Cascade rig with size 2 hooks. With these, yeah, these are gutted lugworm. We'll put those on the cascade rig, and then on the other rig we're going to go with a pulley pennel with some squid and or mackerel. A lot of people think you need to blast a sea fishing bait to the horizon. It's useful at times, but here just a simple sort of half pendulum fishing pendulum. I just compress this continental rod just about enough to put it where I want, which is just over that breaker there. There's a nice deeper part. If you look in front of us, you can see that deeper pool's what we'll be putting our bait on when the tide comes in. But they're really good for it actually, these continental rods. Just make it a lot easier to cast an average sort of cast. Well, that's the weight we've got. We've got the 150 on. I might have to change that up. It's looking pretty choppy out there. It's good for bass though, look. So I've got to explain what's going on here. Because these are bigger tides, spring tides almost, and you lift the lead up and then it bounces down with the tide. So I've literally got the bait now is just trotting down to my left. And it's going to go all the way down there. As I drag it in, the line will form an arc and it'll bring it onto the beach about 50 foot to my left, probably picking up a load of weed. Only tends to happen at the start of the flood, once it picks up all the weed, the tide, and I expect conditions will sort of calm down a little bit, but it's really hard to fish in these conditions. And actually someone's next to me has just gone home as this tide starts to flood a bit more. Sometimes it's best just to walk down the beach, get the weed off and start again. I just thought I'd explain that because it looks a bit strange, doesn't it, heading off down tide for the weight. So again, I'm going to cast up tide here and then walk the rods back down tide a bit. And just when you retrieve, it's going to come almost straight back into you. Just got to clear that groin and hop back over. That's the problem with the weed. Slightly better bait presentation. That's quite good. Oh, I thought it looked a bit bassy. Beautiful, beachy bass. Oh. So, not massive, but it does bring a smile to the face, doesn't it? Lovely. Oh, he's just a little bit undersized. He's 45 setter. So 42 centimetres will put him back. So that was on the lugworm. We'll just use the lug again, I think. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It just gives you a real lift when you catch a fish. And in that tide, that was felt really heavy, and then it went slack. Oh, a bass. Yes, must check those hooks though. Getting dark. It's meant to be a supermoon tonight. Haven't seen it yet. It's pay when you're night fishing to be as neat and organised as possible. Try and keep everything in one base really. I'm not as neat as some. But it's certainly something to pay attention to. Got to watch for this tide coming in as well. I really wish that this moon looks unbelievable. Did you see it this week, this moon? It's called a supermoon or something, or a harvest moon, is it? Obviously it's full. Getting little taps on this one. feels heavy, the line. I don't think well, I'm not sure. Huge potential when you're fishing at night. You never quite know what you're going to catch. This conger out here, certainly bigger bass. I've just seen a guy next to me who's caught one of about 4 pounds. And I would say normally you've got to beach yourself, but because of this moon there's quite a few people out and about. So 2 rods out then, you can see there I've got the fixed spools on, braid on one, mono on the other, both with tapered leaders, and these continental style rods. And the tide's coming in quite rapidly here. Good for the fishing, means I've got to keep walking back, but full moon, bigger tides, just off the spring tides. Be nice to get one more though, wouldn't it? If you want to see the day I caught a 9 pound bass from the beach, then click on that video there. Well, it wasn't to be, but as always I'm happy with a bass.